Could Joe Biden's latest proposal change the way you shop forever? Discover the surprising truths about hidden fees in this week's edition of Cornerstone News. Hey there, finance enthusiasts and curious minds alike. Welcome back to Cornerstone News, your go-to source for the latest updates in finance and beyond. I'm Ty Spires, your friendly neighborhood host, here to navigate you through the twists and turns of today's top stories. At Cornerstone News, we're dedicated to bringing you insightful analysis, thought-provoking discussions, and everything you need to stay informed in this fast-paced world of finance. So grab your morning coffee and settle in for a deep dive in today's headlines. In a candid admission, Nike CEO John Donahoe acknowledged the company's overemphasis on direct-to-consumer sales, recognizing that they had veered too far away from their wholesale partners like Macy's and DSW. Donahoe stated, "We recognized that in our movement towards digital, we had over-rotated away from wholesale a little more than we intended." Nike has shifted its focus in recent years to predominantly selling through its own stores and website, a move aimed at increasing sales and gathering customer insights. However, this strategy is facing challenges including increased marketing costs, the burden of returns, and inventory management. Critics have pointed out that Nike's neglect of wholesale partners may have hindered innovation and product development, impacting not only Nike but also retailers. In response to these concerns, Nike has begun to rebuild its relationships with wholesale partners, restoring ties with retailers such as Macy's and DSW. This pivot comes amidst a challenging period for Nike, marked by criticism of its product lineup and loss of market share to emerging brands. The company has embarked on a restructuring plan to reduce costs and refocus on growth areas such as running, women's products, and the Jordan brand. Despite these challenges, Donahoe reiterated Nike's commitment to meeting consumer preferences, emphasizing the importance of offering choices across multiple channels. This acknowledgement underscores Nike's effort to strike a balance between direct sales and wholesale partnerships, adapting to evolving consumer preferences in the competitive retail landscape. Consumer enthusiasm for buy now, pay later loans is palpable, but a recent survey by Bankrate LLC highlights the risks involved, including overspending and missed payments. According to the study, 29% of BNPL users admit to spending more than intended, while 18% have missed payments, underscoring potential financial pitfalls. However, Ted Rossman, a senior industry analyst for Bankrate, notes that BNPL loans themselves aren't inherently problematic. Rather, it's how consumers are utilizing them. Rossman warns against using BNPL as a crutch for impulse purchases and large discretionary expenses like travel, where installment plans may not offer adequate flexibility. Difficulty returning items is another prevalent issue, according to 18% of respondents. Despite these challenges, the allure of BNPL persists, driven by the ability to manage cash flow and the appeal of low or zero interest rates. Additionally, 26% perceive BNPL as a more responsible alternative to traditional credit cards. Popular BNPL services include PayPal Pay in 4, Affirm, Afterpay, and Klarna, with millennials and Gen Zers comprising the majority of users. While BNPL offers benefits for budget-conscious consumers, caution is necessary to avoid falling into debt traps. Rossman advises selective use of BNPL, particularly among younger demographics, who view it as a means to manage distinct financial compartments. Despite experiencing issues, BNPL remains a popular choice, highlighting the need for consumers to approach it with awareness and moderation to avoid financial strain. The newest NFIB report has revealed a concerning trend in small business optimism, hitting its lowest level since December of 2012. Bill Dunkelberg, NFIB's chief economist, cited ongoing economic challenges as a reason for the decline, with inflation and labor market issues at the forefront. A notable 25% of small business owners identified inflation as their primary concern, driven by rising input and labor costs. This sentiment was echoed by a net 28% of owners who reported raising selling prices, indicative of inflationary pressures. Expectations for future sales also dipped, indicating a potential slowdown in the sector. Moreover, the report highlighted hiring difficulties, with 37% of small business owners unable to fill job openings. Labor quality was another growing concern, with 18% of owners citing it as a top issue. Despite these challenges, 38% of businesses reported raising compensation, reflecting the ongoing battle for talent in a tight labor market. Looking ahead, a net 29% of owners plan to further increase compensation in the coming months. The NFIB noted the Federal Reserve's acknowledgement of persistent inflation and its focus on curbing price pressures. However, higher interest rates have made accessing capital more difficult for small businesses, with a net 8% reporting increased difficulty in obtaining loans. The report also highlighted a shift in the Fed's stance on rate cuts, with anticipated cuts decreasing from 6 to 7 to 2 to 3, signaling a cautious approach in monetary policy. While recent job market data showed strength, particularly in the private sector, challenges persist for small businesses. With financing costs expected to remain elevated, businesses will need to navigate these headwinds in the near term. President Biden's recent crackdown on junk fees has sparked debate over their impact on consumers and businesses alike. While the president claims these fees burden American families, critics have warned of unintended consequences that could affect both consumers and companies. Biden announced $2 billion in savings and $140 million in consumer refunds from previous efforts to curb junk fees. He emphasized the necessity of preventing companies from sneaking hidden charges into bills, arguing that these fees disproportionately affect working-class families. The proposed rule by the Federal Trade Commission aims to ban businesses from charging hidden or misleading fees and requires upfront disclosure of full prices. While intended to empower consumers, some fear it would stifle competition by limiting companies' ability to differentiate based on pricing strategies. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau also plans to prohibit large banks and credit unions from charging fees for basic services, such as checking account balances. While applauded by consumers, some industry experts caution that such regulations could limit banks' ability to cover operational costs and lead to higher fees in other areas. Despite the administration's efforts to protect consumers, questions remain about the broader economic implication of these policies. Critics argue that excessive regulation could hinder innovation and market efficiency, ultimately harming both consumers and businesses. As the debate continues, it remains to be seen how these measures will impact the economy and whether they will achieve the intended goal of providing consumers with greater transparency and protection against unfair fees. Thanks for tuning in to another enlightening episode of Cornerstone News. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment what you thought on today's stories. And if you're ready to streamline your financial transactions, don't forget to explore credit card processing solutions with Cornerstone Payment Systems at cornerstonepaymentsystems.com. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.